just say, well, we're only going to do so many days, but we're not going to just linger on it and just be here forever. So I kind of have three pieces to it. It could be three different nights that we're going to use it, or it could be that hey, if you guys aren't interested, we may end up going to something else. I've been praying about, God, what do you want me to teach? And I just haven't gotten something that really stuck. And so um, this seems like a good way for us. A lot of times we as humans have our own thoughts and what we think God should do. And we have to remember his ways aren't our ways. And the way we think in a matter, we only see what we see around us. We don't know all the things or the future or the past of what may happen or transpire in somebody's life. Amen. So as we look at this, then we're going to, like I said, it's three parts, and I'll give you the names of the three parts, and then we'll work with the first one today, and basically the next one maybe next week. And if I combine them, they'll be combined. If not, then it'll be separated because we have a distinct separation, which I think is probably going to be three pieces, if not four, because one might take longer. Okay. Here's the kind of subtitles. God, first of all, the today's message is the wisdom of God, and the first point, or if you could say bullet, is God has demonstrated His wisdom in the past. The second point is God has demonstrated. Let me find that again. Oh, there we go. God has demonstrated His wisdom uh, in the past. And then the second one that we'll be looking at next week, and you don't have to write it if you don't want. Point is somebody's following me. All right. The second one will be called God has demonstrated His wisdom regarding the future. So you're starting to, probably your mind's ticking, and you're able to put it together and say, oh, okay, I know what the next one is. Regarding the future. Regarding the future. And then the last one will be God assures us of His wisdom regarding the presence. Present. Excuse me, not presence. God assures us of His wisdom regarding the present, meaning right now, today. Not just the past, not just the future, but also today. Okay? So let's get started. Okay, so we know that the Bible tells us that God has created everything in nature, and He did it in 6 days. Now, there's some controversy. Some people try to say, well, I don't see any problem with tying it in with the scientists, where they say the Big Bang and it was thousands and billions of years. But this is where we have to, as believers, listen to what His Word is telling us. Because there's so many things, if we would just, like we do, like in Sunday school class, what does it mean? What are they saying? What exactly is this word telling us? And some of it we may have to go down a little deeper and get into our blue letter Bible, see what the Hebrew or see what the Greek is, see what it's telling us, because sometimes our words are not as clear as the words that we get in the Greek or the Hebrew. Okay, so if we start here and we look, God has demonstrated His wisdom in the past. If we look at Genesis chapter 1, and this pretty much is where we're going to be in, is Genesis. This is where we're going to start. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 through 5. And what I'm going to do is, if I've given you the opportunity, we got mics. If you have a mic, by all means, have it ready to go, have it on. If you want to read, because I'm gonna have you guys probably read the scriptures. Hopefully, you have the Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 through 5. It sounds like everybody's got to where they need to get. All right. Deacon Barnes, would you start us off? 3 through 5. Make sure the mic is close because the people on Facebook and YouTube won't be able to hear if we don't. What? Say again? You were saying then Jesus said? Yeah. Did you say Jesus? Well, in the beginning, we're starting at verse 3, but he said then Jesus. I'm like, what's what scripture? You know? Yes. Okay.
Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
Uh-huh. No problem.
God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning was the first day.
Okay, so first of all, we're looking for the wisdom of God, and we're looking at what the Word says, because sometimes things don't make sense to us as we read through the Scriptures. Why did He do it this way? Well, He should have did it this way, or that don't seem right, in a sense. And God has a reason and a purpose why He does everything. And so if we break this down, what Deacon Barnes has just read to us, it says, "Then God said." This is the first words that are recorded that God is saying something in the Scriptures. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So He was creating everything, but He hasn't spoke yet. Or at least it hasn't mentioned that He spoke. He was creating it. He was getting it all together. It says, but then it says, "Then God said, let there be light." Now this is interesting here because most of us, as we get a little further down, we would equate, okay, light, you got to have a light source. You got to have something to where the light is, if I turn on a light switch, the light, poof, comes out of the light bulbs. Am I correct? Or whatever means of a light. I mean, there's different ways with the light out there. You got fire, it'll give off a light. Just so there's different things that has light, but for the most part,
we're not shedding off no light.
yeah, yeah. And so you look at here, He says, "Let there be light," and there was light. So God said it, and it happened. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. That tells me, or at least in my mind, what I'm thinking is He's saying, "Let there be light," and immediately there was light. It wasn't all of a sudden the ball or the sun or the moon started to build itself up, and all of a sudden you started to see it like it was rising, or like a sunset or like a sunrise. It didn't just all of a sudden start to come over the horizon. Oh, look at the light as the sun is rising. He said, "Let there be light," and it's like when you hit that light switch, click, it was on. It was everywhere, right? Everybody can sense that, right? And see, this is where we as believers, in reading these scriptures, we have to understand what's going on, because it's easy to say, well, I don't see any problem with what the atheists or what the scientists or the people who believe in evolution. I don't, people say, I don't see no problem in that. And you got Christians that say, yeah, I can see that happening. God do it. Yeah, God could do it that way. But let's look at His Word and see what His Word says happens. Because it's important. It's easy. Okay, let me say this. It's easy to listen to the devil and get what the devil wants you to get. Because what did he do with Eve? He came to her and said, "Hey, won't you taste some of this pretty much. And when when he convinced her, she said, oh, no, I can't, because if I do, when I touch it, I'll surely die. And he says, oh, no, you won't die. And so God never said, if you touch it. He said, don't eat from the tree. Now, I don't know how long, her teaching, whether it was from Adam or whether they both sat down and heard. It doesn't tell me, but I know that she took what she thought God said and added something to it that wasn't actually said. And so we have to be careful and see what something is, because it's easy to become a sacred goat or a sacred cow. And by the schools teaching evolution, you got 12 years of your kids receiving something that might not be true. And it only takes a short while before you tell somebody something long enough, they're going to believe it. Yeah, you repeat it. It's the same thing with politics out there. If you want to smear somebody, you go out and everybody uses the same language. He's a liar. She's a liar. They're liars. They lie all the time. That's all they do. And what's the word after a while? Oh, that's a liar. That person's a liar. Why? Because our minds, hearing things for so long, after a while, we begin to believe it. So we look here and it says, then God said, basically, then God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light that it was good. What does that mean? The light was good. Was there some flaw in it or anything? It was good. It was exactly what he wanted. It was perfect. And God divided the light from the darkness. So we're seeing some division, and there's going to be some division going on as we go a little further here. And God divided the light from the darkness. Verse 5, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, what do you get out of this, what we're talking about? What do you see right now, just right now? What did we just talk about? What just came out? Yes, sister. Is that mic on? Huh.
When we went to BC and we went in to see the stars and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And how the light was in the background. It wasn't the stars. It wasn't the sun. It was a light. It was a light in the background. So you know how they build some of the houses now. They have light in the back of the houses. You haven't seen it?
No,
okay.
I haven't seen any
So it's kind of like a light. This is what I picture in my head, because the light wasn't the sun, it wasn't the moon, and it wasn't the stars.
Right.
It was just this background light.
Yeah, there was no source that it was coming from.
Right.
That you could distinguish and say, oh, there's where the light's coming from.
Right. Exactly.
It's light.
And the word firmament also means expand. So light from where?
Yeah, and it was everywhere, but also there was night. He distinguished and separated the two. So there was darkness and there was light. So there's a process that's taking place, and this also lets us know that this is a day. If we listen to what's going on, this is an actual day. I believe it's an actual day. Some people say, well, what if it was 1,000 years each day, or what if it was a million years? Because see, the scientists, the world, try to tell you that there's an age with the dinosaurs, then there's the age of the mammals, there's the age of this and the age of that, and that's where it hops around, and eventually you get to where we are. And so if you look at 1,000,000 years for this and 1,000,000 years for that, does that line up with the Word of God? Because here God is calling it a day and a night. And on top of that, he calls it evening and the morning. So that gives me a distinction there. In the evening and the morning, was it evening or was it daylight, or should I say, was it light for 1,000,000 years? Then it was darkness for 1,000,000 years. You see what I'm saying? Does everybody understand what I'm saying? If an actual day is not an actual day, if we looked at what the scientists are telling us, that this 6,000 years that God built this, put this earth together, and if you do the math and say it's 10 billion for this year, this day and night, and 10 billion for this day and night, something's not gonna work right. Because as we read here a little more, we'll start to see that he incorporates plants, and plants have to have light. So if you give them 1,000 billion years of light with no darkness, no rest, you know, you have to have some of both for us. There's got to be some darkness. That's what your body's clock tells you this is the time to rest. If you never had any kind of rest, or a indicator that told you whether or not it's time to rest, it does something. People in the wintertime get depressed. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever felt that? In the wintertime, when the sun seems to be covered by the clouds, people tend to get depressed. Why? Because the sun, they're missing the sun, that vitamin D. You get vitamin from that. And so if you got a daytime that took 1,000,000,000 years, 10 billion years or whatever to complete the daytime, and then you got another 10 billion years to complete the nighttime, something's not going to live. Can you imagine walking around? There's no sun, there's no moon, there's no stars, so dark is dark. You ever go inside one of those caves? I remember when we were kids, we go in those caves. I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember where they are. There were caves, and they would turn the light off for a second and show you that it's pitch black. You couldn't see your hand in front of you. And then they turn the light back on, and then you can see. 1,000,000,000 years of darkness, because if that's the rule that God set up, it's not just one day. This is every day of his creation. Because he says, evening and the day. Evening and the day. So if you're going to start the process by saying an evening and a day is 1,000,000,000 years of evening and 1,000,000,000 years of night, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, then in this, something's not going to work right. Even the plants, everybody knows how plants operate, right? They take the light from the sun, they turn it into, it's called photosynthesis. It uses it. That's where it gets its nourishment. That's where it gets, without it, it'll die. So 1,000,000,000 years of darkness, when God gets the plants, it's not going to live. It's not going to happen. God is a God of order. It says, so the evening and the morning were the first day. Everybody agree? Everybody can see where I'm going, right? So when somebody tries to tell you and say, well, I believe that this was that it could be 1,000,000 years or whatever. No, I'm sorry, it's not. I believe it's the actual day, but to God looks at a day as 1,000 years and 1,000 years as a day. But that doesn't mean that it is actually here. Here he created, I believe, literally in 6 days, he created everything there is. He didn't need time for the soup to boil over and for something to bloop, come out of it and all of a sudden starts crawling on the land. Because as we go along, we'll see what we can see from what the scripture tells us, right? Okay, so now if we go to Genesis chapter 1 still, verse 6 through 8. Sister Carrie, would you read that? Or now if you don't want to read, by all means just say I pass, and we'll pass. So no problem. I have no problem, okay? Is it
Genesis 1, 6 through 8, verse 6. Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. 7. Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was good. Verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day.
Okay, so something sounds kind of strange here. Sounds, you know, maybe you've glossed over it and you didn't really catch this, but now we're slowing it down. It says, then God, so we're looking at, you got light and you got darkness. You got one day just happened. It says, then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Mist is where? In the middle. Okay? Let there be a firmament in the middle or the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Wait a minute. Why do you need something to divide the waters from the waters? Seawater and fresh water? Okay, well,
Waters, the lakes.
okay, let me ask you a question. Did we just read anything about land being created? How we don't have no lake then. Because it's all water right now. It's all water. He's by a firmament. So now we're talking, there's something that is separating the water from the waters. Yes, sister.
He says it's a firmament, and he calls that heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's not where he resides, but it is in the heavens.
in the heavens.
So-
So is it the rain and the oceans?
Mist.
Mist or rain?
Wait,
Mist used to
okay.
come from the-
Is it right? Is it in
The
here?
mist
that we
came
said-
from the bottom.
We're in Genesis 1, 6 through 8. It says, then God said, let there be a firmament in the mist. The mist here is not a mist of water like when you go in, you get those misters that blow water at you. The mist here, I believe, it means the middle, in between.
M-I-D-S-T?
Yeah, M-I-D-S-T.
That's a mist, yeah, that's
Wait,
that's in between.
it's in between. She just looked it up. It means in between. So let there be a firmament in between the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Okay, so I'm trying to make you think, because people nowadays will say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. That's not true, because there's no way, because we went to the moon. And I know, oh, Pastor, here we go again. You fist to throw something out there about we went to the moon. What if I told you, no, we didn't? What if I told you they lied? What if I told you that it was a movie? What if I told you that now, because of what they did, NASA every year gets a budget? What if everything up there that they're saying is out there? They got this telescope supposed to be flying, and this thing flying and went to the outer areas. What if maybe that's a lie? Because here is telling us that there's something dividing the heaven, waters from the waters. There's stories that are out that there's a dome. There's a bubble. We are in a bubble. And the government has been trying to break through that bubble or that dome. And if you imagine a fishbowl, it has a thickness. If you took that fishbowl, and it's not paper layered thin, right? It has a thickness to it. Well, imagine in between that thickness, there's water. See, there's stories about them going and shooting and blasting it, and it cracking. and then all of a sudden it would seal back up. There's stories out there. There's these kind of weird stories that are out there. If you ever notice whenever they shoot up rockets, why don't the rockets go like this? Why is it always they start like this and then we see them going like this? Have you ever thought about that? Why does it always look like it's going this way? Some people say, oh, well, they're trying to get their trajectory and making sure that when they get there, it'll, like the moon's coming here, and so they're going like this. Well, it's going to take you a few days to get to the moon, so the Earth's going to be doing some spinning, and so if you're going to do some math, it's going to be like this and like this. You don't do like, oh, and eventually we'll get here, because it'll be 30 days later that maybe they'll make it to the moon, and it's done made, several loops or whatever else it's supposed to make.
I had another thought. Now, separating the water, we know that there's water in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
We have the apparatus used, we can get that water. You know that, right?
Yes.
Get water from the atmosphere.
Yes, it's H2O is, yeah, the oxygen, the air, the chemicals in the air can make water. Yeah. I don't know. Think about this. Okay, if you're going to separate two waters, why would you let one of those waters drop down and rain into where you're supposed to be separated? Because what happens is the ocean, it evaporates, and it comes up, forms a cloud. The cloud moves to a certain area, and all of a sudden, boom, and the water comes back down. So it's a circle, the circle of life. It's making this process. But that's not separating it, because it becomes a part of it. Our water, drinking water, comes from the ocean. Salt doesn't go up in the sky and then it doesn't rain down salty water. Just the water, it breaks the chemical down or whatever, and you got oxygen and hydrogen, and it makes its way around, and then eventually whatever friction that causes it, and you got lightning, and you got all of a sudden rain starts to fall. That's happening within. Within, there's something holding us in here. Because guess what? The clouds don't keep, okay, they say if you go to outer space, why do they wear a mask? Why do they got a helmet on their head?
No oxygen.
Because what?
No oxygen.
No oxygen. So why is there oxygen up there, but all of a sudden there's no oxygen up here?
What's up there? The sky?
The sky is up there.
No, you said there's oxygen up here, but there's none up there.
Okay.
So
Let's-
what
let's
is
say
up
this-
here?
This is the water on the earth, like the ocean.
Uh-huh.
Then you got up here in the sky,
The
you got
sky.
clouds,
Right.
and so you got your rain process happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's got to be something over that makes sure that our water and air don't just float out into space.
Yeah, but that is the mystery of God happening that way.
Did
No,
He created it that way for the clouds to form, to pick up the water from the ocean in order to, and then,
yes.
I guess whatever happens, by his miracle, happens in those clouds, and chemistry, of course, changes the water, and when it comes down, it's fresh water.
Yes, brother. Do you have a?
It was called Johnny Cat.
It was called
And
what?
Johnny Cat, the cat litter.
Oh, your cat litter. Okay.
Yeah, but the boss, he had it was a spear. It was a round ball, and he had vegetation in it.
Mm.
He had there was lobster though, and the ball was about as big as a little bit bigger than the 8 ball.
So
And
it was tiny.
Yeah, he
Okay.
said, but that was that lobsters, a couple of lobsters. He said, but this is their atmosphere right here. They won't get no bigger, and hopefully they won't eat up all of the vegetation.
Okay.
You know, I thought it was pretty interesting.
And that's a good point, brother. What you're saying is it's a biosphere.
But yes.
A biosphere. It's a system within a ball. This system keeps it all to where it's going to be. The lobsters will never get any bigger because their system is only this big. If you increase the system and you made it bigger, then they would probably grow bigger too. Some say that dinosaurs, the reason why they were so big was because the oxygen was better back then. It was like, and I can't say that what the percentage is, it was like 35% oxygen or something to that effect. And so therefore, them breathing that oxygen, they grew bigger. So you look at some common lizards running around here, in actuality, they're like the dinosaurs, except because of the oxygen, because the biosphere is smaller and it hasn't shrunk, but the oxygen level has shrunk.
Because of man.
No, not actually because of man, because of well, yeah, you could say it's because of man. The flood. What happened in the flood?
Flooded the earth.
It was the first time it ever rained. It never rained. And so the system changed. Water came from above, water came from below. So it was a rapid flooding, just poof, poof, and it just flooded and filled up the earth. It changed, and that from then on we had rain. We didn't really have rain back then. It was dew, something like dew or something in the morning, you know, type deal. And so their size changed after that. I see you got a question?
No, I'm just looking at the scripture that we were reading, and it said that let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then were we reading 7? Did we read 7?
Yes.
And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heaven. So whenever I've read that, I always assume that was the lakes and oceans separated from the sky, the heavens.
Yeah. And it's easy to assume because you're thinking he's separating it, and in our minds, that's what we're thinking. Okay, but there's no land.
Exactly.
There's no land right now. It's all water.
Water.
Right,
He's
but
separating water
Exactly.
from water.
isn't there still earth?
Well-
Or earth is still there. It's just null and void because it says that he was hovering
He's
over the
hovering,
waters.
amen.
So
Yeah, I was just gonna say
it's
that.
just a separation of the water into the firmament or the heavens. It expanded.
Because
There.
it does, it
It says
mentions
he's
the
hovering
earth.
over the water, his spirit, because the earth was void. That means nothing.
There's nothing
So
there.
it was non-existent until he starts to separate and puts the space
'Cause
and
there-
divides one water from the other.
So it's just water. It was just water.
Yeah.
Just water.
And then he separated it.
Yes.
So
The waters.
the question that we're trying to answer right now, if I'm hearing right, is we know the bottom was ocean, lakes, seas, whatever. What was the top? That's the question.
Everybody see this? Just imagine if this was round. Can you see in between, see where the gel kind of stops? How is this gel able to stay there?
What do you
Because
mean?
there's something that
Oh.
it's in. It's contained
It's
in.
contained.
So if we take this and let's say he separates the water from the water, this dome, if we think about it, water's from the water, there's a water dome. It's like a fish bowl upside down, except it's made out of water. And when you say water, what do you mean there's water floating up there? It's frozen water. It's water still, right? In that, it's still water. Do you guys remember when we just had this eclipse and the sun and all this stuff? If you recall from the last eclipse, what did they say? They said, this is what the scientists said, there won't be another eclipse until 2027. And all of a sudden they said, oh, look, we got another eclipse. Nobody ever questioned them. They said that when this eclipse happened, people were all looking, ooh, ah, and all of this. But what was happening is they said NASA, they sent up 2 rockets. What were the 2 rockets for? They said that what they did is they tried to blast a hole in the firmament, the dome. If you look up some of these, you'll find some of the astronauts that were supposed to have went to the moon when they're on their dying beds, as they know they're feeling guilty, maybe they got born again, they have started to say, we never went. You can see, there's one, make sure I don't spill that. There's one deal.
I seen one where they had a Pepsi cap on the moon.
Yeah, there's stuff like that because it was on a Hollywood set. Because it was on a Hollywood set. There's one that they have out there where they're saying, okay, it's some little module. If you go to the museum and look at this thing that they flew in, it's like it's made out of foil, aluminum foil. There's one where they got the astronaut. He's going back into the ship, and he grabs the I don't know, the door or whatever, and it's supposed to be a metal door. He flicks it over, and you see it kind of like a cardboard. It goes, bloop, it flips. There's another one where there's a man, they're talking about, okay, you're clear to take off, move here and move there and stuff, and then all of a sudden you see a mouse running up the leg of the spaceship. It wiggles around, it looks around, and all of a sudden you say, that's a mouse. And all of a sudden he'll run across again. And it's like, what is a mouse doing up there in space without a helmet on? There are things out there. Don't just believe me. Go look and see. You show the astronauts that are supposed to be up there in this satellite or whatever. They're up there. Why is it the woman's hair is the only one that looks like Frankenstein's bride? The other guys, their hair is regular. Hers is like, oh, it's gravity. It's just because it's long, it just sticks up there. I could understand if it was flowing, but it's not flowing. It's just like Frankenstein's bride. There's stuff they glitch out. Well, I'm going to go into this other room, and while they're going into this other room, they glitch out. Why? Because it's digital. They've done something digital. So I
Really, it's AI.
yeah,
AI.
well,
Now it's so intense and just so much more, you know what I mean, advanced.
it will be harder for us now to be able to tell the difference because AI is getting good at what it's doing. They can make you seem like you're the person saying something, and you're not even saying this. They can make you seem like you're the Adolf Hitler reincarnated by the things that they have AI do with you, or do with your face, or your voice. It can emulate your voice, and therefore they can trick the world into thinking that you are saying things or doing things to get rid of you.
To us, I saw a movie. Going to be we're going to believe what the movie said, or we're going to believe.
Well, I don't know. What are you saying? Is what I'm saying just something that's been pumped around?
Saying there's a possibility that that's what's happening. You know, just like the movie now. I saw this movie. Like,
Uh-huh.
The guy that was in charge was really a type guy who was really pushing this woman to make sure that she got this thing done right. Something happened, like you were saying, like the door, things like that happen on it.
Yeah.
That was on Earth where we had, you know how they set up duplication of what they're supposed to be doing up on the moon?
Mm-hmm.
She had set everything up on Earth the way it's supposed to be on the moon.
Right. A simulation of the moon. Is that new movie that just came out? Okay. There's a movie about rocket
I'm
to
just
the moon
I'm
or
just
something.
saying, you know, which I don't think we can really say because we don't know. Did they or did they really go?
True, I agree. We don't personally really know. But you have to understand that, first of all, the enemy has to tell you what he's going to do. He tells you what he's going to do. Look at the world. Look at the world right now. You got these rappers. You got these singers that are doing songs with Satan. You got one rapper that he's telling the people, the rapture's already happened. You're going to hell with me. We're going to all go to hell. You're all in hell right now. So they're doing things. They're putting things out there, and they're right in your face. There's no shame about it. These singers are doing witch rituals. You look at the Olympics. They did mockery of the Last Supper. Granted, that was a picture that somebody painted, but it's a picture that depicts the Last Supper of Jesus Christ. And then what did they have? They were all drag queens, and then there was one kid in there, and then they try to say, oh, it was this or that. They try to turn it into something. Oh, no, we weren't doing that. And then some of the other drag queens said, yes, we were in the beginning, but then they had to recant their story because they were getting chewed out for doing what they had done and saying what they said. But okay, something that has come out a little bit more on that is that when the Last Supper was happening, they brought this giant silver plate down with a lid on it. And when they took the lid off, it was the god Dices or something. I don't know, this blue god or whatever. This was a mockery of, again, Jesus Christ eating his flesh. And he was the god of wine. Well, what does the wine represent? The blood. It was a mockery of the communion. It was a mockery of the Last Supper. Right in your face. That's what they're doing, right in our face.
I think a good example of what you're talking about, and kind of back to you saying you saw a movie and then now it sounds like what we're hearing. Take the end times. We know end times is here. It's coming. And we all expect the rapture. And we know what the word says about the rapture. What man is doing to defute that is putting out things that show people disappearing by aliens, people disappearing by, kidnapped, a hole in the ground, whatever. And when we're gone, as Christians, that's how they're going to explain it away, and people are going to believe it because they saw that. We saw that. We know
in their heads
they've seen
aliens.
it enough.
Yeah.
And so I think the things that we hear and see, we have to be wise and ask God, is it true? Open our eyes and show us. Because there's a lot of stuff out there. You don't know what to believe. You really don't. And unfortunately, the people that don't read the word are going to be lost. They're not going to know what's truth and what's not. But we have the word. And so it says we will know. We will know the truth because we have the word. We know what it says. We know how he's coming back. We know what to look for.
Right.
But those that don't are going to believe the lie. And the lie is being planted now so that it's easy to believe the lie because they've heard it so many times.
Yeah. More people are seeing aliens or UFOs now than they've ever seen. And some of it may be fake. But my question to you is, do you believe in aliens now? No? Because you got to look at these things. Some of these things are meant to, if you believe this, then you can't believe God. You see what I'm saying? Are there aliens? I say yes, but guess what? I say the aliens are demons. They're demons. And they said, well, yeah, but they got spaceships. You know, the cup and saucer looked at spaceships. You don't think we probably got those built already on our own? They're flying those things around and testing them out, figuring it out, but they ain't brought it out to us because all of a sudden they'll go to war and they say, we got this new plane. He's like, wow, that's a nice plane. How long we had that? Probably 30, 40 years ago they've had that. It's the old model.
I think it is. You know, our government's got places we don't even know about.
Yeah.
They're doing different things, you know, for the air. Aliens. It's the peoples here on Earth doing things that we don't know anything about. When we see it, yeah, we'll say alien, alien plane or whatever. But it's something that, you know, in American people know about it. Those that does the building and manufacturing know all about what's going on, but we don't know that.
Yeah.
Call it whatever we want to.
Yeah, we're just cattle. We're just in the way. You know.
I mean, back to what you were saying, like in verse 8 said, God called the firmament heaven. So that water.
Okay. Which verse were you on?
That's where I was going.
Okay. And God called the firmament heaven.
Heaven, right.
So
So,
the evening and the morning were the second day.
right. So as we go along down into this, though, we'll see that that firmament is still, it's above the stars, the moon, and all of that.
Mhm.
It's above that. So heaven is out there. It's up there. And that's where, like when we get into Daniel, the fight is on, you know, but it's up there. It's in the heavens, the firmament.
Okay, so how far are you saying that the firmament you think goes? It goes out there
Oh,
to Pluto?
space is vast. It's non-existent. So, you know, they try to look out there, but the firmament is, God is not going to let that happen. For one, this is my belief. For one, just like when they had to try to build the ladder up to heaven, yeah, it will never happen again. So they can't reach that. Man tries to be so smart to reach something that they cannot. He's not going to allow that to happen again.
Well, look at this. Again, if this was the earth and everything is inside this firmament right here, inside this system, what's outside it right now? All of us, the air, the building. I mean, it goes on and it's vast, right? If it was as big as this and it was out there, Pluto and all of that, then we'd be able to go to the moon. Because as far and as vast as we could go to the Milky Way, it might take a long time, but we would be able to do it. But if not, if they've been trying to break through in here, all them little people in here are trying to break through to see what they want to get to the other side. They want to get out. God made it a closed system. Those lobsters want to get out, but they can't. They stuck in there forever, or as long as they live.
Know that God doesn't say how many miles the firmament is, but it has to be pretty miles and miles away because, like I said, you have the sky, you have the moon, you have the stars, you have the sun, and all of that
Is not
it's
in the firmament.
exactly. The firmament is above all that.
What if all of that stuff wasn't as far as they say? Because some of the measurements that they give for the sun being far away and the moon and all this, the numbers that they come up with, 6, 6, 6, 6.6, they got numbers like that. How did it come up to being 666?
But I'm not going off of man. I'm going off of the word.
Well,
What
I
Genesis said.
believe the sun and the moon possibly could be part of the system. It's closer than we think.
Right. Okay. So now we could go to another route on this. Okay. When in Revelation, when they were fighting, he threw the angel out of heaven.
Mhm.
Where'd he go? Where was the fight?
Wait, what angel? You talking about? You talking about Satan?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, I believe this is what I read and I vision in my head that this fight, it was here. It was here on earth. And so where did he cast him? Where is, he gave him dominion, but all this is happening on earth. He cast him out of heaven, and heaven is the firmament. It's heaven. And he says it here.
There's several heavens.
Yeah, but
God
I'm saying
calls where the birds
right.
are, that's a heaven. He calls in
Yes.
outer space, he calls that a heaven.
Right.
Where he is, there's a heaven.
I'm
But I'm saying that
I'm saying where
there's a
God
division.
says here in verse 8, he said, and God called the firmament heaven. So this firmament is way beyond our eyes,
See, but-
or man.
But you're seeing the firmament as there's only one heaven out there.
Oh, no, because I know that Daniel talks about, they talk about the second heaven or the third, they talk about the layers, because we know that it's a fight up there spiritually that we can't even see,
Yes.
so
And there's a spiritual realm too. There's a dimension
Exactly.
that right next to us, something could be going on.
exactly. And there's where he's already made that's going to come down to earth, so this place that we're going to be staying at when God brings it to earth, it's already made out there. So I'm just saying, whatever God is doing, it's beyond our.
And also, he knows already the beginning to the end. Because then I think when Noah's time and he got ready to flood everything, there we go back to the water. You said it came from the ground and from above the heaven.
Yeah.
And he flooded everything. It covered, it said everything. Everything.
Yes.
Had to be there it had to be here, and the fight had to be somewhere. That's why but
Above the firmament.
okay, we're talking about the firmament. Now I'm talking about when he separated. When he was separated, earth was here already before Genesis. This is just this. Earth was here already. It was null and void. He said it.
You have to understand that sometimes when you read a sentence, that could be the complete story that you're reading here. But now he told you everything in a nutshell about creation, and then he says, now I'm going to go back and tell you the story, and I'm going to break it down to you what happened during this time.
So we go to Ezekiel, or we go to Daniel, or we go to Revelations, and that's going to send us where? Right back to Genesis.
Right back.
Yeah.
That's what's telling us. He said the fight was on. And when that fight happened, he said, then I threw him out
He said,
of heaven.
I saw
The
Satan.
firmament is, he said right here, I call the firmament heaven. Heaven is the firmament. So I threw him out of heaven. He threw him here. That's why he has dominion here.
Yeah, over
The earth.
Over here, yes.
But this is where the fight was on.
So
And
is that why the dome is, so that he doesn't escape out of that dome? He's only limited to a certain place? Because also, when the rich man, the poor man and Lazarus, he says, plus there's that division there where, remember how he's telling him, can you send him to tell my brothers? And he tells him that no, because there's a division there where he couldn't anyway.
Well, the
Plus-
division divided them,
Them.
from Lazarus, the
Yeah.
rich man from Lazarus.
But he was in the bosom of Abraham. Where is that? Is that up there in the firmament?
No,
Is it further up, or is that
it's-
still on
that was
earth?
that was down in hell. Hell had two compartments. One is empty now, and the other one still has people.
But
in
where's
it.
Sheol?
Sheol's the grave.
But where is it at? It's here
in
on
the
earth.
pit.
It's down in this earth, crust of
It's
this earth.
in,
pit.
you're saying in the earth, not on the
Well,
earth.
it's deep into the crust of the
pits.
earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when the ground opened up and ate and swallowed up the people. What's the name? Korah, I forget his name. Korah's. It said that Sheol opened up and Hades basically swallowed them up and it closed itself back up. So they went down. Yes, that's exactly where it is. But if we're in a fishbowl, again, if it's like a fishbowl, and you got earth, you got ground right here, and it opens up and swallows them, they go to a point, you know, it's not like they went 3 miles down below or whatever. They went wherever it is, because there's even a darker, further point where some angels, the angels who walked away from where they're supposed to be, who they're supposed to be, they are in there in utter darkness. So even further than where the place of torment is, and Abraham's empty, the bosom where his is empty now, there's a place that's even further.
Can I?
Okay.
Can I read this just real quick?
Yes.
Because I think that you guys are all agreeing about the firmament, but you're just saying it in different. Maybe this will help. It says that the firmament is mentioned in 15 times in King James Version of the Bible and refers to the expansion of heavens above the earth. In the story of creation is found in Genesis, God formed the firmament to divide the waters above the earth from the waters below the earth. As part of the cosmetic design, the firmament is a formation above the atmosphere of the earth, understood as an immense, stable arch. According to Genesis 1:8, God called the firmament heaven, giving it significance beyond just the border between the earth and beyond. According to the biblical cosmology, the firmament, seen as the sky from the earth, is essentially a fixed upside-down container over the earth, colored blue from the heavenly waters above it, and the water for rain, snow, hail, etc., was stored outside the raka, which had windows to release them onto the earth. And then it goes on to talk about Genesis 7:11. I know we're not going into all that tonight, but the waters, when you talked about Noah.
Yes.
But that arch that you're talking about,
Yes.
that's what it's saying the firmament is, which is what you guys, everybody's saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
A vault.
But it's a large expansion. If you change the word firmament and look at it, it means the same thing, expansion.
well, also, I was looking at the Hebrew. The word firmament means airspace.
Mhm.
It's the space in air, like a vault. It's what's inside the vault. That spacing is the firmament. It is part of the firmament. It divided the two.
Right.
So he called it's the firmament.
Amen.
Okay.
How big is the firmament? Between the firmament and the earth.
We all know.
Okay. Let me say this. I believe the sun and the moon may be closer than we think, but if we can't get to it, then the firmament is below it.
But we don't know that.
Oh, you're saying the sun and the moon are outside the firmament.
Yes. But it's like this mic here. If the sun and the moon are going around it, but this is the firmament, it's here, it's doing its thing like it's supposed to, but it's outside of the dome. It's close. It's closer than what they want us to than what they want us to believe. They say that a lot of times whenever they take pictures up there, they have to use a fish-eyed lens. What's the fish-eye lens for? It gives it a curvature. They've taken pictures and then they didn't use the fish-eye lens, and all of a sudden they get caught, busted, and it shows it's flat. So why would the enemy not want you to believe that maybe there's a bowl around and that we are on a plane? Because if they can make you think one way, then they can make you think that God's word is not true. So On a globe, how do you get north, south, east, and west? But on a flat surface, north, south, east, and west. You got angels in Revelations that's going to hold back the four winds. So those holding back the four winds, that's, I don't, let's go on. Because we could be here, but I think if we go a little further, we'll find that it may explain some things that we were talking about. Okay. We just did 6 through 8. Or did you finish reading all of that? Yes. Okay. So now, Genesis 1, 9 through 13. And Sister Eva, do you want to read? You got a mic? Yes, ma'am.
Genesis verses 9 through 13. And then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place.
Okay, so let's slow down right there. Let's break this down. Okay, he said, let the waters under the heavens, got an S, so that means there's more than one. Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place. Okay, go ahead.
Let the dry land appear, and it was so. And
so
God,
this is where we're eventually getting land. So this is where if we're going to have lakes and rivers and things like this is where it's going to pop up because the land is here. It's coming up. Or the land is coming up.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. 10.
And God called the dry land earth, and the gatherings together of the waters he called seas.
Seas. Seas are usually equated with the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
And God saw that it was good.
Okay.
Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is it in itself on the earth, and it was so.
Okay, so if we look at this, he says he called the seas, and then all of a sudden it says, let me see, verse 11. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herbs. So he's going in an order. You got to have day and night in order for these plants to grow. And before he puts man on this planet, he's putting food, a garden.
Yeah.
Okay, herb that yields the seeds and the fruit, and the fruit tree that yields the fruit according to its kind. What does according to its kind mean?
Whatever it is, vegetables.
Peaches,
Yeah.
brought forth peaches,
Avocados.
yeah, broccoli,
Avocados
yeah,
and cherries.
avocados. It's of the same kind. It wasn't like something. Ooh, what's that? And you, oh, that's a peach tree, and you look at like that. Don't look like a peach. Look like a watermelon. You wasn't just pulling off anything. So of the same kind, okay, on the earth, and it was so. Verse 12.
And then verse 12, and the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And so the evening and morning were the third day.
So here's the third day. So you got plants and stuff that he's brought up, and they're yielding the same thing, all in one day, all within a 1 day time period. Some people would try to say, well, this, don't nothing grow in that fast. You don't have in
But
1
he's
day
God.
peach trees and
Yeah.
fruits and seeds and nuts and stuff like that out of these. But God can.
God can.
Because if you think about it, he brought the land up, and then he started to make the plants grow. So he can do anything he wants, really. Okay, but then now let's go on to 14 through 19. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 through 19. Jaden, did you want to read?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's a fast reader, so slow down a little bit. He is a good reader. He's an excellent reader. But
14 to what?
19.
Okay. All right. 14 reads. Oh wait, let me change it to New King James. Hold on.
Okay.
I had it on NLT.
You got the NLT?
Well, I had it on there, but I'm changing it.
Oh, you changed it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 14 reads, Then God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs.
Slow down, slow down. I want to break this down. He said,
Okay.
let there be lights in the firmament. Lights in the firmament, remember, that's that,
Stars.
of the heavens. Okay? Of the heavens to divide the day from the night. It was already a day and a night because he had divided it, because he said, let there be light, and he divided them. There was no sun, there was no moon, there was no stars at this time. But now he's getting ready to create them. Why do you think that he's creating them at this time? And why didn't he just create them in the very beginning? The plants need it. Yeah, okay? The ocean at the time, or the waters didn't need it at that time, because he's in the, it's sort of like painting a picture. Sometimes you got to color everything one color, and then you start bringing your other colors and putting them on top of it, and it kind of layers its way. And so this is part of his layers. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it says, And let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years.
Okay, what's going to be for signs and seasons?
The lights in the firmament.
The lights in the firmament. Okay, so they're going to be for signs and seasons. Our calendar. Yes. So when you get winter or anything like that, you got a season, right? You got winter, fall, summer. You got seasons, right?
The way you know a day is night and day, and light and night, dark.
So we understand that, we accept that, but it also says that it may be signs. So what would be something like a sign?
Earthquake,
In the sun, moon, the stars?
a storm.
Storms, you got hurricanes, you get,
Clouds, it gets overcast, there's no rain, that's a sign.
Right?
okay, what about an eclipse?
Eclipse.
It was known back in the days that an eclipse in the daytime was a warning to the Gentiles, and an eclipse at night, the moon, the lunar eclipse, was a warning to Israel, or it told them that something was about to happen.
Exactly. That's Jesus with the star. Those kind of things. It was a sign. He said the star been right
Yeah. His star that they followed, yeah, it was a sign. That was a sign, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's different signs, there's different things. Because a lot of people don't really know it, but when Jonah refused to do what God told him, and he went the other way, when God finally got his attention, he said, I'll go. Scientists have taken it back. Because you can look at the, if you ever get a star app, and there's some star apps that you can reverse, and it shows as it's reversing where things were lining up and where things were, doing its thing, except it's taking you back. And you can go back years and years and years and hundreds of years and thousands of years if you can sit there and spin enough, if that's the kind of app you got. And so it's, think about when Jesus was on the cross. For 3 hours, it was dark. What's the longest that we've had an eclipse?
A few minutes.
4 minutes, I think, was this last one or something. The eclipses don't last for 3 hours. That was some kind of sign that God put in place to where you knew it had to do something with Jesus. Even when the Israelites were fighting and the sun stood still. Scientists, they've looked at that, and there's something wrong in the calendar that equates to this sun being stopped. They probably won't ever admit it, but they found some kind of error where it seems like, wait a minute, the sun should be somewhere else. So there's all kinds of signs, all kinds of things out there that God is using, and he'll use them again. We're seeing a lot of things in the stars, in the skies nowadays. Some of it may be man trying to manipulate things. Don't know.
Just like you were talking about the stars and what they mean, with Virgo, or when it's going into the mother's womb, those things mean something.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, the devil perverted it to where people will not accept the sign because, oh, no, that's as you said, astrology. But it's astronomy. See, there's a difference between astronomy and astrology. Astrology, you tend to lead your life on what the stars are telling you, and that's how you lead your life. Astronomy says, okay, look at what God has done, and whoa, there's something getting ready to happen. There's something coming together at this time. And just like on September the 17th, back in, was it 2017, I think, or 2015, when the stars was telling us, because it talked about the woman who was giving birth to a child. She had 10 crowns on her, or 10 somethings on her head. I forget, 10, like the points, the 10 points on her head. And then she was standing on the moon, and just all of these things, they all came together. And the planet Jupiter went into her womb, and it rotated around, which that was different. That was weird. It rotated around in the woman's womb for 9 months. And after the 9-month period, it came out of her womb. It's like, well, it don't normally do that kind of stuff. And to stay where the stars are moving or whatever, it made its way around, and it finally came out. So there's things that's happening. And then there's another part of that prophecy that first part happened, but the second part didn't happen. It talked about, I saw a dragon, and this dragon with his tail took a third of the stars with him. And that's Satan. Oh, shouldn't say it. My sister, she said, I don't give him no credit. But this is something that it's like that period, and it breaks. It breaks, and to us, it looks like it should be happening right with it. It should be happening right now. But it just, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes it's happening. It's in the process. You look at, see people say, well, Cancer, you got Virgo, you got all of these. Oh, yeah, that's astronomy, that's astrology and stuff. What we have to remember, God put these things up there, and he even calls them, you'll find somewhere in here that he calls them by their names. So God uses these things for a reason. They're up there, and there's a reason. And one of them is called Dragon. Dragon means dragon. So it's out there. It's just a matter of how far, how deep do you want to read and learn about whatever it is that's happening. It's about time to finish, but we'll let Jaden finish up real quick. Okay, go ahead, Jaden.
Okay, 16. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw it was good.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but something's strange here. When he started, he said, then God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. And let them be signs and seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmaments of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then God made two, what does that then mean? Yeah, it means, wait a minute, what just happened here? Something strange just happened. It says, then God made two great lights. So it's like, okay, here's the sun and the moon, but I thought we were talking about the sun and the moon a little earlier. But it's not, apparently, because it says, then God made two great lights. Go ahead, Jaden. No.
So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. That was 19.
You finished, I thought you stopped at 16 or 17.
No, I stopped
You
after
read
18.
You read 18? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. He set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth and to rule over the day and over the night, the sun and the moon, and to divide the light from the darkness. It's already been done, but now he's putting the sun and the moon into motion, and they're going to be the ones that's going to divide or give us the notice that, hey, it's daytime, it's nighttime. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
So he said right here, God set them in the firmament. So the firmament is still way out there. He said the moon, the sun, the stars in the firmament. He just said it.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that the firmament is way out there.
Well, I
Remember, I
mean-
just said, what if it's
I
closer
don't
than
know.
we think?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's beyond heaven.
And you got the firmament, which is basically a vault or a space. But there's like, you got the heavens, the sky where the birds are. You got another heaven that's higher up. You got in outer space. You got another heaven that's out there where God is. We're billions and millions of miles away, or at least the way we think. By our calculation, or I mean. Yeah, our calculations, they carbon date things, and they can carbon date your dress right now and say, oh, your dress is 5 million years old. It's not foolproof. But they do it, they do that, and then they say, oh yeah, they found a woolly mammoth in the snow. It was frozen. The flesh was still raw, like it was still alive. They carbon dated the backside of the elephant, the woolly mammoth, and the flesh part of the elephant, and they got 2 different dates. So I don't know if whether or not this elephant was walking around with 2 legs and half of it, the other half caught up with him and died all together at the same time, or laid down beside him. I don't know. But it's like we do things and we say trust science, but science is not always right. They have an agenda. Yeah, they have an agenda. Whoever's paying them, that's what I'm gonna give them. That's the information I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna give them what they're. If you want me to say that the sun is roasting the earth and we're gonna all die, I'm gonna find you some evidence that prove yeah, you're right. Give me my money. Science is not like science used to be. Scientists would get burnt to the stake because they believe something. Now scientists, well, I got to go with them because I don't want to die. I don't want to lose my job. All right. I know it's kind of wacky, fluggy kind of stuff, but look up some of this stuff and tell me what you see. These things, like I said, even the director, the guy that directed this moon landing, he's going on air saying that we made it up. I said, well, why would they make it up? Because Russia was trying to get to the moon, China was trying to get to the moon, and we had to be the first ones so we can claim it and be the, woo, America. That's the only reason why, they have done it. And people ask the scientists, well, if we did it then, why can't we go back now? And one of the guys, he's in an interview, says, well, I'd be the first one to go if they could, but they lost all the information. What happened to the information? You're NASA. Would somebody steal it? Or the computers of those days were better than the computers of this day? What? It's just, look it up, please. You will be saying, you know what? These people could be lying. Look, find that mouse. Find that mouse.
They said in this movie that we saw with
This was a gray mouse. All right, we're going to go ahead and close it up and let everybody get out of here. And then we'll continue from this next week. And we'll be out at the firmament. If you want to look up a little bit more and kind of study it out, that's fine. We can talk about it a little bit more, but I want to keep us moving on that if we can. Father, I thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. Lord, sometimes, Lord, we grow up hearing things and just believing it because they've taught it to us for so long. And so, Father, I want to know the truth. I want to understand what your word is telling me, not what man is telling me, because man can have an agenda, a reason why they don't want me to know. And so, Father, I just pray that your people, their eyes will be open to see and hear. And, Father, if I'm wrong, that, Father, then expose that so that I can correct that and say, this is what the Lord has shown. But, Father, I know that the enemy is busy. He's going around like a roaring lion, and he's looking for people to deceive, to kill, and to steal from them what they have. So, Father, I pray that your word will go forth, that those that might be watching later through Facebook or YouTube, Lord, that they too will start to dig in and see what is this that they're talking about? How can this be? We may get hate mail, Lord. I don't know, but all I know is, Lord, first and foremost, I have to trust you. I may not understand everything, but I know, Lord, you will reveal and give me understanding. Eventually, I will know what you have given for me to know, and I will know a lot more than I definitely know today. Thank you, Father. Go with us, protect us. In Jesus' name, amen.